If you're a man and you feel like you're a woman, that's a mental disorder. Well, here's the thing. Calling something a mental disorder, that is a medical diagnosis, a psychological diagnosis that you're giving somebody. The people who actually are qualified to make this call and make this judgment, psychologists who have a whole system for making these kinds of judgments and diagnoses, they don't consider it that. If I felt like I was a woman, even though society was calling me a man, that's not causing me harm. Now, I know some of you are saying, oh, but it does cause harm. The harm that transgender people experience is from other people. If I tomorrow start wearing dresses and go by a woman's name, that's not harming myself. If you are a jerk to me, yeah, that causes harm. And I realize I'm putting it way too lightly by saying being a jerk. If you're mentally abusive toward me. So what are you basing that on when you say that it is a mental disorder? What basis do you have? Because it seems to me like it's just your feelings. I can understand that sort of gut reaction and be like, what? You want to be a woman? That doesn't make any sense. I get that. But, I would like to think that we human beings are a bit evolved past our gut reactions to things. And we can think and we can listen and we can analyze and we can empathize with people. So whatever my gut reaction is irrelevant and it doesn't matter. The point that I think is most important is this. Amongst the transgender community, they have one of the highest rates of suicide, especially young transgender people. Do you know what drastically reduces their suicide rate? Is when they have an adult in their life who accepts them, particularly if their parents accept them. So acceptance is what reduces suicide amongst transgender people. And I don't know how you could ignore that, how you could not pay attention to that, and how you could not care about that. Because oftentimes when people argue against transgender people, they say, oh, well, look, they're depressed, they commit suicide. And again, it's like, well, yeah, but it's not because they're uncomfortable in the gender they were assigned. It's because everyone is being so awful toward them. And all the messages in society are making them feel like they're messed up. So the bottom line is this. No matter what your gut reaction is, no matter how you feel, and again, do the reading on this for yourself. But if you see, and I can convince you, and you can be convinced that this is a fact, that the rate of suicide goes down with acceptance. And by acceptance, I mean you gender them correctly. So if Bob, that you've known all your life, wants to be known as Roberta and referred to as she, and of course this also includes non-binary people who would rather be referred to as they in the third person. And I know whatever, that's something that if you're not used to, it doesn't seem to work grammatically in your head. Get over it. You can do it. You can make the effort. Yeah, you're probably going to slip every now and then, but you can make the effort. You can do it. Especially if doing it is potentially saving a life. If it's making somebody feel better about themselves by just gendering them correctly. Because if you know this, that gendering people correctly and accepting them, if you know this, and yet you continue to persist in saying that there is something wrong with accepting people for what they say that they are, then you need to admit that you are not motivated by love. And, maybe you're fine with that. But I personally think that when it comes to how we as human beings treat each other and how we regard one another, I think love needs to be the motivation. It needs to be the thing that gets us through, and as a society. I don't know how that is ever a failure, how that is ever a bad thing. And if you're somebody who loves, then clearly you want what's best for people. And I don't think I have to make a compelling argument for you as to why people wanting to kill themselves is clearly not what's best. So, the facts and your feelings can go together into being decent to people and treating them the way they want to be treated. So, let's try and love one another.